Everyone's like, oh, look, here comes Pensy Joe bringing the Pennsylvania stuff because really test LED in the headlight, but we'll take this quite well by all. Regular combination, she's all that Sheet at 10. Proceed to 15. Hey everybody, this is Pensy Joe back again with a update at the Johnson City Railroad Experiemce. It's been roughly over a year now since I made my first video doing a tour. I did a walk around tour, but this time I'm going to do things different. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be showing what the updates have been lately at the museum. Right here we are at the Tweetsie. We're at the coal tip on the Tweetsie, somewhere between Hampton and Elizabethton. And as you can see, there's some more details going up. It's more, there's a lot more actually. The modules, when they were put together, they are pretty much, you can't really see the seams as much anymore. They've been, plugged up with some sort of mold or something like that. And then they used details to pretty much pretty it up and look like that's all one piece. But yeah, the Tweetsie has gotten so much better as time has gone on, especially since the first time I've done this. I mean, over here in this corner, they pretty much detailed it, cleaned it up, made it look really pretty. There used to be, there used to be like nothing over here in this corner when we first opened up the museum. Pretty much our curator, who worked on this, he pretty much started from Cranberry all the way back around and then came up to this area. This is the third tunnel that goes from Hampton into on the Tweetsie, that goes from Hampton through a small tunnel and then goes through another tunnel to go through Doe River Gorge. So yeah, it looks utterly fantastic. I still can run my my GE Class 90s on this railroad, even after all the detail stuff. For kit bash models, they do pretty well for most of the layout. And here's on the way to Hampton with the covered bridge. Now the covered bridge, from what I noticed, is still a little bit crooked. It's not completely level with the track. There is no really issues with the the Tweetsie 460s or the 280s, but when the bridge is slightly crooked, anything that has like, a winterization hood on top of it, it barely fits. But then that's not a really huge issue, pretty much per se. Again, the GE Class 90s were never used on the Tweetsie, but if they could, it is possible. It's just I would if I were to get a GE Class 90 kit in the future, I would try to get one without the winterization hoods. But the the GE Class 90s were mainly made for the way past and Yukon. But since the Tweetsie opened 4 years before the GE made the Class 90s, if the Tweetsie lasted 10 years longer, they would probably try them out. But yeah, you can see the sawmill in the back. Things have just changed so much. Same thing with this back corner. There was not really much going on in the back corner. Leaving Hampton, heading towards Elizabethton through tunnel number 1. Absolutely spectacular. There you can see the river down below in the bottom right. Really, really well done with the scenery work from our museum curator. It's just, it's a joy to operate on this railroad. Just the amount of scenery and beauty, you can't help but do some photography when you're running on this layout. It's just absolutely fantastic. And for anybody who's new and has never seen this before, this is an HOn3 layout. So HOn3 is 3-foot gauge, narrow gauge, an HO scale. Now there is a good amount of HOn3 out there on the market. Most of it is brass. Blackstone is currently in hiatus, and who knows if they will ever establish a new factory ever again. They mainly made like RGS and Durango and Rio Grande Western narrow gauge stuff. They only did like a K27 and the C19, which is basically what they all had. And here's the Hampton station, as well as the back corner. It's finally getting filled in as well. That used to be a empty spot. Now, by the time this video is being made, and when I took these pictures about a month ago, that area is now filled in and fully detailed now, and it looks spectacular back there in that back corner. Hampton just looks completely finished now. It's a wonderful, beautiful little area on the layout. Hampton only just had a runaround or siding for trains to pass each other. There is the log mill just off to the side, off the screen, to the left side, where you can do a little bit of switching, but not too much. It's again, this is a narrow gauge railroad, and they didn't really run that many trains during the day. They probably at their peak, they probably only ran like 2 trains in each direction every day, which means it took probably all day to have one train go over the mountains and into Johnson City from Cranberry. Now, this was modeled in the mid 1920s. So here's Roan Mountain. There's a backdrop now over there, and that was hand painted. It was really, really, really beautiful job. I had to give props. He's like, "Did you like it? Does it look good?" I'm like, "Yes, it looks fantastic." This area used to have like a bunch of like cut creases when the previous location, they had to cut the layout up so they can transport it to where we are now, and they did a really good job, pretty much making it, not visible that it was ever in pieces. So, props to that. I mean, it's fantastic. Now, at some point, I'd like to see those I don't know if they're telegraph or electrical poles, but I'd like to see some wiring on them. Nobody's not gonna really put their hands in there that much, anyways. And over here, I forgot the name, but it's the town just before State Line Hill, near in the back over there, on the top left corner. This used to have like a seam, and you could slightly see it where the little depot station is, and some of the buildings are up against the glass. Well, not the glass, but the plexiglass. There used to be a cut right there to, break that module into smaller pieces, and it's pretty much gone now. It looks almost as if it's one piece again, or it was always one piece. Not really much has changed over here, honestly. There's still some, I think those are Blackstone, no, I can't believe it's blank in my mind. Stock cars. Yeah, the Blackstone stock cars are still over there. I haven't seen anybody run the stock cars much. I heard a long time ago they were not the greatest runners for some reason, but oh well. I mean, again, this layout is pretty long. Just to give some people an idea who are new, this layout usually run trains at like 16, 18 speed steps, sometimes 20 speed steps, and it could take like about an hour for a train to do a complete loop-to-loop. Over here is the other side of the turnaround for Cranberry. We pretty much cleaned up this side over here. The curator did a really good job. There's the dead end at the very bottom for for full trains to come down the high line of the main line down the grade and into a reverser area where they can reverse back into Cranberry Mine and Cranberry Station. We're not modeling all the way to Boone, unfortunately. Even though at this time in the mid 1920s, Boone would have been the full extent for the Tweetsie at that time, where they merged with the Linville River Railroad. Could it be possible that one day we would expand to Boone? It's quite possible. I mean, nothing's impossible, but for that to happen, we'd have to get rid of the N scale layout that's in the central area in the other room, which I'm not sure how people would feel about that. But it would be a cool idea to have the full size of the Tweetsie when it was at its peak. So after State Line Hill, a lot of things have changed in this corner. There's a quarry back there. There is no spur for a railroad to go there. It's probably just mostly for trucking and stuff like that for the local area. But if they wanted to, have a train stop on the main line, because again, there was not that many trains that ran on the Tweetsie during the days, the train would probably stop by with some empty hoppers, and they would load all that quarry rock and load it on the train and just leave on the main line, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, I think that's pretty interesting. And then further to the left, you see one of the homes at the time as well, and you see the road going down a little bit off screen where the plexiglass is. Now that area does have plexiglass now. For some time, we did not have plexiglass there. But now it finally has plexiglass, because some people would rest their arms on the scenery. It's like, oh no. So there's one of the log camps or lumber mills where it was a log camp in a lumber mill area at the same time. So they didn't have to go to a sawmill all the way to like some sort of location like on normal logging railroads. There was actually, we do have a brass, is it a shay? I think it's a shay. It's a 2-truck shay, and there were narrow gauge shays that worked at that lumber mill that would go to Cranberry, and they would deliver the lumber to Cranberry so that the Tweetsie would take it back down the mountain. And that's Elk Park to the left. Elk Park is now fully operational. For a long time, we've had that siding into the station out of order for some reason. I don't remember the exact reason, but it was out. And this area used to just be a brown, just base plywood painted over with, brown paint, and then he got the painted back there. And over here, this is now prettied up as well. It used to just be a brown ridge over here, and now you got some farms and some roadways that would go all the way over to the Cranberry Y over there in the very back corner. And it's a pretty steep, drop from that, from the railroad line. And there's a couple of road crossings that interweave from each side of the tracks, all the way from Elk Park to the Cranberry Y. Now, I'm not sure what they're going to exactly do over there. There's a couple ideas that they were thinking about, but who knows? We'll see what happens as time goes by. I'll have to double check what's going on over there, because they're still trying to figure out what to do with the Cranberry Y. There were some issues that they had with the switches. So I think it's fixed by now, but I'll probably do an update video at some point once we get to Elizabethton, because they're starting to work on Elizabethton right now. And the covered road bridge that's still there today. So it's going to be really cool for probably the final update, if it's going to be finished by the end of this third year that might be coming out. Here's Cranberry Y. There is a dead end. There's a dead end track, and then there's a switch that's no longer a switch right now. And there's some couple fixes where they had to take out the ballast and redo one of the switches. Now, it's an interesting story. The GE Class Dynies, that's a really tight corner over there, and they can go around that corner without derailling. But on certain other parts of the layout, they don't like some of the corners. Not sure why, but that's railroading, I guess. Or it's pretty flat there, and the track work is pretty good. So I don't know. I mean, I hesitate to bring the GEs up the mountain as much, because there's a bridge after Roan Mountain that when you get to the other side of it, going in a specific direction, going towards Cranberry, the track just tilts. Like the rails would just start dip. Like the left rail would just dip before the inside rail before going through the curve, and the GE Class 90s will hover their 6-axle truck because there's no springing in the in the gearboxes because they're Kato RC-2 gearboxes. So yeah, it's maybe one day, and then they can march all the way to Cranberry. So these are the miners' houses. So these are the miners' housing for Cranberry Mine, which is going to be to the left off the photo. And this area used to be just another brown area, not much going on. And now it's got, housing, and there's a lumber yard over here. Again, that hill did not used to be there. We got finally something to hide the train that's coming on the reverse loop on the other side of that. And there's some backdrop right there with some more hills and some more mountains painted. So the train comes out of like a hidden tunnel somewhere behind that hill, and it'll march all the way around that, and then it'll go to Cranberry Y. And you could technically make it a loop in itself too. You can definitely make it a looped area if you just wanted to just run Cranberry and just use the Y and the reverse loop that goes behind the mountain. And there's all that lumber. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of lumber. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, man, that's a lot of lumber going there. And this is where they would load up the lumber and do train runarounds. There's one of the Baldwin 10-wheelers. They are brass. They're called Train Troopers, and I don't like them. I mean, they look great. They're beautiful looking engines. Their performance sucks. I don't work on them. I did think about trying to figure out what to do with them, but when I heard how fragile and like pain in the butt they are, I was like, maybe I want to keep a 10-foot pole on this one. I think that locomotive over there is one of the 280s that I worked on to cosmetically look like the Tweetsy 280s that they had. It's always been debated what the 280s and the 460s looked like in the early 1920s. And in the early 1920s, the Tweetsy bought the 10-wheelers, and they pretty much were black. Just black with the red trimming on the windows and the smokestack. So it's always fun to figure out what they were used to look like. So over here, we're back at the HO layout. This is the HO layout for the Mount Empire Model Railroaders. And this is the upper leg. This is the peninsula for the upper leg at the very end of it, where it marches up the grade to go about 5 inches. It's like a climb to about 5 inches high of the normal level or the main level of the layout. And this is the coal mine. We're still working on this. I think some more stuff has been added since I took this photo about a month ago. That coal mine over there is we gotta still make a hole into the mountain where it can so you can have at least an idea where the ore carts are coming from. And here's Allsup Gorge. As you can see, there's some more. There's no barn up there anymore on the original module. What they pretty much did is that they just put pretty much the cotton ball like trees. And cotton ball trees, I'll be honest, they look fantastic. They look good against a backdrop. Or further away from the front, and then you got trees made closer and stuff like that. That little hill there that separates the two main lines at the end of on the left side, that's no longer there. That's something else now, and there is plans of having a third bridge that would go behind the pillar and go to that town in the back. You could see some buildings in the back over there. There's a yard back there called Little Roanoke. This layout does not represent anything accurately. It just represents the current, like the general area of Southern Appalachia, mainly between North Carolina, Virginia, um, and Eastern Tennessee. So yeah, that's pretty much what the theme of this layout's going to be. And down there's the chocolate factory. We have it looks like oil tankers. No, they put chocolate in those. Now, I'm not sure about the history of storing chocolate. I would think they would put it in reefer cars or something of the sort. I mean, there's some down there, but there's also some tanker cars that can hold chocolate, I guess. So interesting, right? Or there could be milk cars. Who knows? I don't know much about milk on freight cars, honestly, in the United States. And there's a spur that goes up the grade. It's a pretty steep grade. And that spur goes up the grade and it goes to that switch house over there. And there's the icing facility. I don't know the proper name. There are a bunch of reefers out of park there. The layout does feel a bit empty. If anybody gets the idea, it's again, this is just a work in progress. And there's been stuff added to that ridge right there from the main line to the spur going down the grade. They've prettied it up a little bit more since I took these photos. So it's an ongoing progress. And there's the backdrop mountain that separates pretty much from the staging area behind the layout and to the viewing area of the layout. And there's the main line that goes through the tunnel. It made a curve, goes around, and then it comes by this little white and blue house. And the backdrop there was hand painted by one of our members. It looks pretty good. I like it. Although that mountain does look a little bit strange, meeting with the sky over there and just suddenly drops off. That might change at some point. And here's that middle area between the two other previous photos. This is one of the logging camps on the layout. So this would go all the way to the sawmill, which did change. The sawmill area has been changed a lot since the first video I did, since we opened. That's going to be an interesting topic right there. And then right now we're still working on the backbone, the upper level. Currently there's just a downhill grade. It's not interesting at all. It just has, I think it's probably got a 4% grade or 5% grade going down. We call it Little Saluda. And here's the upper leg. This is where the main roundhouse is and some of the facilities. And there's some lines drawn. You know what that means? That means we're going to get some corking down soon. So this is one of the final last few photos that I have here. We've also extended the benchwork over there on the left hand side near the top where we're gonna have a double main and a yard lead siding that's gonna loop around the roundhouse. No, I'm not gonna have 3 tracks go around my roundhouse. It's basically gonna look similar to this, except it doesn't have the extended stalls like on the normal Walthers kits and stuff like that. I'm not going to have anything like that because I don't have the space. So there's that mountain that's gone that would separate, and there used to be little tunnels right there near that road bridge. That's gone now. There's a lot of changing of the minds lately in the past year. So, and they're expanding the sawmill with another lumber camp. And there's going to be a little brewery spur where that brewery temporarily is. There's going to be a little track spur that goes somewhere over there, and that will be for, a small, like a boxcar or something like that, to go on this little branch line right here that climbs up the grade from, I forgot the name. There's a little town that's off to the right side. Not much has really changed from there except, some updates and track work and a little bit of cleaning up of the scenery. This area is new over here. This is not like Johnson City at all. It could be like Charlottesville or something like that, or I wouldn't say Nashville or Asheville. Sorry, not Nashville. Not like Asheville. It could be something else. Maybe some Virginia city or something like that. So we're still waiting on a viaduct bridge to be done and to be able to continue doing this. This is sort of an idea where the buildings are going to be. That station up there, the cream building right there is going to probably be our station. I had shared some ideas on a siding for a train to come in and to go into the station, as well as some dead end terminal tracks that are parked on the. It's off the screen to the left. It's off the picture to the left, where some dead end terminal tracks would be to back trains into the station. And here's more of the corking being done. Here we go. We finally got mainline cork being put down. This is I'm excited. But this is not my work. But I am watching how they're doing it so that when I do my like corking and for my layout eventually, which it's things, there's progress happening, all right? There's some progress. I just got to finish the bench work first. And I'm going to be getting there sometime in the summer. I'm going to be trying to just finish the bench work. Doing the plywood's going to be the hardest part because I got to make sure that, the curves are cut correctly and stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be 100% exact. It could be off by like maybe an inch or so, but like still, I typically don't really want that. But anyways, yeah, I don't know about that building right there. I think it's just temporarily there just to show people some buildings and stuff like that. There's going to be like a yard right there, and it's going to take up most of the space. Another like staging. Well, no, I wouldn't say staging, but an actual yard. And there's the corking that's going up the grade in the back right there, coming down, and then it's going to loop around the roundhouse. Pretty much done. And then there's an extension there that's there now. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're working on the layout so far for the HO, and N3. Not much really has happened on the N scale layout. We don't have the S scale switching interaction anymore, unfortunately. So most of the work has been going on the HO and HON3 layout lately. And we're getting rid of we're going to get rid of those shelves in the back at some point. I didn't really show anything about that yet because, well, not everybody needs to know where we store our trains, right? I mean, that's fair is fair. Anyways, anybody, this is Penchy Joe shining out again for this update video for the JCRE. And there'll be a link to the JCRE down below if you want to come visit us in person and see for yourself what we've got up lately now. Anyways, I'll see you guys down the line. Bye now.
By the shore, hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Now here's to Daddy Claxton, may his name forever stand, and may be remembered in the courts throughout the land. When his earthly race is over, let the curtains round him fall. We'll carry him home to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumble and the roar, as she glides along the woodland to the hill and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, riding through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball.